evening, everybody. We're going to start the agenda portion of the meeting this evening. Sorry, I'm running a little late today. I apologize. So we got the City Council meeting for May 6, 2015. We have City of New Brunswick 2015 budget. Resolution 501A. Resolution to read 2015 New Brunswick municipal budget by title. 501B. Approve amendments of City of New Brunswick 2015 budget. 501C. City of New Brunswick resolution to adopt 2015 budget. 501D. Resolution to set tax levy for Board of Education for 2015. Number 1. Bid protest, Recreation Park, specification number 851-14. 2. Bid protest, a refuse truck, specification number 421-14P. Ordinances on second reading. 504, an ordinance to amend and supplement this revised general ordinance of the City of New Brunswick, Chapter 10, Vehicles and Traffic Control Regulations, Loading Zone. Add a loading zone on Easton Avenue. Ordinance for discussion on first reading. 501, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinance of the City of New Brunswick, Title 15, Buildings and Construction, Chapter 15.04, Uniform Construction Code. 502, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinance of the City of New Brunswick, Title 5, Chapter 5.32, Charitable Solicitations, and Chapter 5.96, Solicitors and Canvassers. 503, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinance of the City of New Brunswick, Title 9, Chapter 9.04, Offenses against public peace and decency. G, resolutions. 502, approve agenda minutes. 503, approve payroll, 411 to 412-2415. 504, authorize refund for redeemed tax sale certificates. 505, approve person-to-person and place-to-place transfer of liquor license. Yes.
We'll be holding that tonight.
We're holding that?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. 506, approve 5-year approved 5-year consolidated, I can't say that. Consolidated plan and 1-year action plan for the City of New Brunswick, CDBG and home funding. CDBG 2015 to 2016 allocation 871-844. Home 2015 to 2016 allocation 350-778. 507 authorized property lien for Board of Security, location 184 Baldwin Street, Block 199, Lot 17. The amount is $1,248.43. 508, approve renewal of liquor license for 2 licensing periods, 2013 to 2014 and 2014 to 2015 inactive. For Jazz Incorporated, trading as McCormick's Irish Pub, liquor license number 1214-33033002. 509, approve emergency temporary appropriations for 2015. 510.
Mr. Regan, excuse me, if I could just interrupt. If you adopt the municipal budget this evening, this resolution is no longer necessary. 09, that is.
Got it. Thank you very much. 510, approve appointment of counsel. A. Peter DeMarco Jr. of DeMarco and Gagliano for representation of Detective Keith Walcott in the matter of Isaiah Jordan versus John Quick, not to exceed $5,000. 511, authorize applications, acceptance, and execution of grant agreement for 2015 for New Brunswick Safe and Secure Community. Grant application, grant number P6399-15, the amount of $60,000. 512, authorize the mayor to endorse a city-held certificate of sale for cancellation. 513, authorize refund to GLM at Comstock, LLC, in the total amount of $186.63 against Block 222, Lot 001.04, 350 Comstock Street, against utility charges. 514, authorize tax collector to transfer overpayments on several tax and utility accounts. 515, approve authorization to advertise for 2015 line striping, specification number 887-15. 516, approve authorization to advertise for 2015 furnish and deliver regulatory sign, specification number 888-15. 517, approve authorization to advertise for terminal road improvement, specification number 885-15, non-total trunk. 518, approve resolution scheduling a hearing date for ABC charges against the estate of Stephen Gomez, trading as The Palace Bar, liquor license number 1214-33-019-004. The hearing date will be May 20th, 2015. 519, approved request for street closing, requested by Our Lady of Mount Carmel Roman Catholic Church. The location is Marsh Street, from Livingston Avenue to New Street, and George Street, and turn to Marsh Street, Church Street entrance, for celebration of the Feast of Corpus Christi. Date is Sunday, June 27, 2015. The time is 12:45 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. 520, approved request for use of city property, requested by Team Sedak's Blue Life Running Club. The location is Bugwell Park and Pavilion. 5K Healthy Run Walk, date is Saturday, September 19, 2015. Time is 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. 521, approve amendment to pay additional legal fees in the amount of $1,215.50 to Benedict and Altman for Police Director Anthony Caputo in the matter of Victor Rodriguez versus the City of New Brunswick, from $5,788.50 to $7,004. 522, approved request for use of city property requested by Livingston Elementary School. The location is Monument Square Park for musical concert performance in the park by Livingston Elementary School band students. The date is Wednesday, June 3rd, 2015. The rain date is Thursday, June 4th, 2015. The time is 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. 523, approved request for use of city property requested by the Hyacinth AIDS Foundation. Hyacinth AIDS Foundation, location, War Memorial Park, for National HIV Testing Day and HIV/AIDS prevention. The date is Friday, June 26, 2015. The rain date is Tuesday, June 30th, 2015. Time is 3 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. 524, approved request for street closing requested by the Hungarian Civic Association. The location is Bethany Street to Division Street, Somerset Street to 66 Plum Street, Somerset Street to end of Hungarian Heritage Center property for the annual Hungarian Festival. The date is Saturday, June 6, 2015. The time is 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Police extra duty. 525, approved request for street closing requested by Rutgers University. The location is Bishop Place between George Street and College Avenue for black tie event in the courtyard of Rutgers Honors College. The date is Wednesday, June 10, 2015. The time is 11:30 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Police extra duty. 526. Approve amendment of resolution R041551. Reason to change the street closing. Approve request for street closing. Requested by New Labor Education Training Institute. The location is Livingston Avenue, George Street, Albany Street, French Street, Andy Street, Joyce Kilmer Avenue, and Sanford Street for March commemorating Workers' Memorial Day. The date is Sunday, April 26, 2015. The time is 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Police extra duty, non-pro com. 527. Approve amendment of resolution R041575. Reason, add rain date. Approve request for use of city sidewalk. Requested by Rutgers Fossil Fuel Investment. Location is George Street and Nickel Avenue, Somerset Street to Broward Commons on College Avenue for Climate Justice March. Wednesday, April 22nd, 2015. Rain date, Friday, April 24th, 2015. Time is 3:45 p.m. to 5:15 p.m. That is also non-pro com. 528, authorized purchase by Police Department under state contract A70259, WSCA computer contract number M0483 from Apple Incorporated for one computer not to exceed $2,538. 529, approval of resolution R021514 for additional $3,360 for change order number 2, rehabilitation home improvements for Lionel Dan Davis and Brian Blatz, 8 Edgebrook Road. Approval of this change will constitute an increase of 20% or more of the original contract. 530, approve amendment of resolution R121404, reason to pay additional legal fees in the amount of $1,275 to Benedict and Altman for Police Director Anthony Caputo in the matter of Arthur Henderson versus Anthony Caputo from $10,412.50 to $11,687.50. 531, authorized purchase by Police Department, Domestic Violence Unit, under state contract A86922 from Petrick Fleet Services Incorporated for one 2015 Dodge Journey, not to exceed $17,999. 532, authorized professional service agreement to Raritan Hospital for Animals for emergency veterinarian services, Division of Animal Control. The term is 12-month contract commencing May 7, 2015, ending May 6, 2016, not to exceed $5,000. 533, approve relaxation of the city noise ordinance requested by Pollock Brothers Group Incorporated. Reason, perform sidewalk repairs at 125 Patterson Street, Robert Wood Johnson Medical School. Date is Saturday, May 9, 2015. The alternate date, Saturday, May 16, 2015. Time is 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. 534, approve authorization to advertise for Plum Street sanitary sewer and roadway improvements. Specification number 886-15. 535, approve authorization to advertise for crosswalk safety improvements in roadway, warning light system. Specification number 881-15. 536, approve amendment of resolution R-021547. Additional supplemental services associated with inspection costs and contract administration costs with T&M Associates for professional engineering services for 2014 sanitary sewer cleaning and CCTV inspection. Specification number 855-14 RFP, not to exceed $5,710. 537, approve, reject, award of contract with TBD for reconstruction of record to be determined. Recreation Park, specification number 851-14R. 538, approve award of contract to be determined for first to deliver 132 cubic yard rear loader low entry refuse truck. Specification number 421-14P. 539, approve request for use of city property requested by New Brunswick Board of Education, Livingston School. The location is the upper field at Teen Center. For Livingston School Field Day, the date is Thursday, June 11, 2015. The rain date is Monday, June 15, 2015. The time is 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. 540, approve request for use of city property requested by New Brunswick Cultural Center for 4th Annual Hub City Sounds Music and Concert Series. The location is Boyd Park. The dates are Saturday, August 8th and 22nd, September 12th, 2015. The location is Alice Jennings Archibald Park. The date Sunday, September 13th, 2015. The time is 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Police extra duty. 541, approve request for use of city sidewalk requested by Affinity Federal Credit Union. Location, sidewalk in front of 346 George Street for membership drive to create awareness and for the grand opening of new branch. The dates are Thursday, May 7, 2015 through Tuesday, May 12, 2015. Time is 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. 542, approve fiber optic cable agreement and hold harmless agreement requested by Fiber Technologies Networks LLC, FiberTech. Reason, installation, use, and maintenance of telecommunication facilities with public rights of way for purposes of providing telecommunication services. 543, approve amendment of resolution R-031514. The reason is revise original encumbrances under original contract due to it being a 24-month contract with Orchard Holdings LLC for solar powered remote equipment maintenance. Specification number is 872-14. 544, approve amendment of resolution R-031511. The reason, additional amount of $5,107.23 for the replacement of emergency lights, exit lights, ballast, batteries, and bulbs. Approve award of contract with Sal Electrical Incorporated for electrical maintenance and repair services at the New Brunswick Senior Center Resource Center. The term is 12-month period commencing February 19, 2015 and ending February 18, 2016, which can be extended on a yearly basis for up to 2 additional years. Rebid specification number 415-14PR, not to exceed $5,107.23. Approval of this amendment will not constitute an increase of 20% or more of the amount of the original contract. 545, approve relaxation of city noise ordinance and street closure requested by Amquip Training Rental. Reason, lift new roof curbs and hand air handlings on roofing material to the Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital East Tower at Little Albany Streets. The dates, Saturday, May 9, 16, 23, 30, 2015, time 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. 546, resolution for introduction of the New Brunswick City Market 2015 budget. 547, approve request for use of city property requested by New Brunswick Recreation Department. The location is Bugalo Park for Independence Day celebration. The date is Thursday, July 2nd, 2015. The rain date is Sunday, July 5th, 2015. Time is 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Police extra duty. 548, approve award of contract with Field Turf USA Incorporated for installation services for the synthetic turf field at Memorial Stadium through Keystone Purchasing Network. Not to exceed $109,385.55. 549, approve award of contract with Envirolutions LLC for furnish and deliver membrane modules for the potable water filtration, not to exceed $413,910.50. 550, authorized shared services agreement with the City of New Brunswick and North Brunswick Township for animal control services. 12 months commencing May 4th, 2015, and ending May 3rd, 2016. Not to exceed 39,000, non-pro com. 551, resolution to determine the form and other details of the offering of the $25,132,000 general obligation bond, Series 2015 of the City of New Brunswick, in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, consisting of $12,135,000 general improvement bond, Series 2015, $4,773,000 sewer utility bonds, Series 2015, and $8,224,000 water utility bonds, Series 2015, and providing for their sale and determining certain other matters with respect thereto. 552, resolution providing for the combination of certain issues of general improvement bonds, Series 2015 of the City of New Brunswick in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, into a single issue of bonds aggregating $12,135,000 in principal amount. 553, resolution providing for the combination of certain issues of sewer utility bonds, Series 2015 of the City of New Brunswick in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, into a single issue of bonds aggregating $4,773,000 in principal amount. 554, resolution providing for the combination of certain issues of water utility bonds, Series 2015 of the City of New Brunswick in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, into a single issue of bonds aggregating $8,224,000 in principal amount. 555, resolution to establish a dedicated trust by rider for police department, special duty. 556, resolution computing 2015 reserve for uncollected taxes pursuant to NJSA 4A, I believe that's a :4-41C. 557, approved relaxation of the city noise ordinance requested by Pavarini McGovern LLC to read work on behalf of Matrix Upper Lock Project. The dates are Saturday, May 9, 2015 through December 26, 2015, excluding holidays. The time is 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Thank you. Okay. Now, we're going to go to the portion of the meeting, call the meeting to order. Clerk?
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Escobar.
Here.
Council Vice President Fleming.
Here.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Present.
Council President Egan.
Here. Please be advised that the notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been complied with and satisfied in that the annual notice, which gave sufficient notice of the time and place and conduct of all public meetings of the municipal council of the City of New Brunswick, has been filed with the city clerk, has been placed on an appropriate bulletin board in the lobby of the City Hall, New Brunswick, New Jersey, and has been transmitted to the official newspaper for the City of New Brunswick, namely the Home News Tribune. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'll have a moment of silence for our men and women serving in our armed forces and for all our men and women who have lost their lives serving in our armed forces. Thank you. We have minutes from April 1st, 2015. Can I get somebody to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Who seconded that?
Council Fleming.
Okay. Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Council Vice President Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes, yes. We have public hearings tonight. We have two items that are going to go on first for public hearing. We are being challenged, two bids are being challenged in the City of New Brunswick. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Council President, I think we're going to do the budget introduction, the hearing first, and then we'll get to those particular items regarding.
So we're going from public hearing back, we're going to do the budget first.
We're going to do the budget first if we can, sir.
Okay. Okay, City of New Brunswick 2015 budget. We have resolutions, 501A.
Mr. Clerk.
501A. Whereas NJSA Title 40A:4-8, as amended, provides that the budget shall be read in full at the public hearing, or that it may be read by its title only if, at least 1 week prior to the date of the hearing, a complete copy of the approved budget, A, shall be made available for public inspection in the free public library, if any, of the municipality and in the free county libraries or regional libraries located in the municipality, or if no county libraries or regional libraries are located in the municipality, the county or regional library of the county in which the municipality is located, and the public officer delegated responsibility for delivering copies of the approved budget to such library shall forward to the governing body an attestation that each such delivery was made, and B, is made available to each person requesting the same during said week and during the public hearing. Now, therefore be it resolved by the Municipal Council of the City of New Brunswick that it is hereby declared that the conditions of NJSA Title 40A:4-8 as amended set forth in subsection 1A and 1B have been met, and therefore the budget for 2015 shall be read by title only.
I offer the resolution and move its adoption. Second.
Roll call for vote, please.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar,
Yes.
Council Vice President Fleming,
Yes.
Council Member Garlotti,
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes, this resolution has been adopted. Now we're going to go right to the next
You
resolution.
want to entertain a motion to open the hearing on the budget, Mr. Council President?
I will entertain a motion to open the hearing on the budget.
I move that the budget hearing be open. Second motion.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar,
Yes.
Council Vice President Fleming,
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti,
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes.
Council President, this is the time fixed for the public hearing on the municipal budget and tax resolution for 2015. The budget was approved by the governing body on March 18, 2015, was advertised as required by law on April 4, 2015, together with the notice of hearing for this time. Printed copies have been made available to the public during the past week.
Before opening this hearing, I wish to outline the procedure. Each person desiring to be heard will rise and give his or her name and address before speaking. I will recognize one speaker at a time in order of rising, as nearly as I can determine. Address all questions to the chair where necessary. They will be referred to individual members of the governing body or municipal officials. Questions must be confined solely to municipal budget before us. School or county matters are not proper subjects of this hearing and cannot be discussed or answered here tonight. I now declare open the public hearing on the municipal budget and tax resolution for 2015. Come on up.
Mr. Egan?
Yes.
Before Mr. Credible starts, if you don't mind me just saying that the hearing is on the budget as introduced. And we will then, after that hearing is concluded, ask you to consider 4 amendments to that introduced budget. We'll ask you to act on that separately, but just a reminder that the hearing is on the budget as it was introduced on March 18th.
Thank you. Mr. Crowley.
Yes, good evening, members of the council. Charles Cradaville. I just want to begin by asking, I've been coming to these meetings for 6 or more years. Are you limiting the public comments on the budget in terms of time?
No.
No, okay. So my time ticking away beforehand.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. I think it's a big undertaking, $80 million budget, and I hope I can ask all my questions in 5 minutes, but if I can't, I think it's good that we have the discussion. So
Everything within reason.
absolutely. So I'll start by asking a question I think I've asked before, but I just want to be very clear about it. How does this budget account for the privatization of the water system? Is it anticipated that it's going to be fully taken back by the city and American Water will not be involved when the current deal is up? Or is there an anticipation of the deal continuing or being changed in some other way?
Mr. Lockman.
In the water utility section of this budget, which you'll find on sheets 32 through 34, you will find that within the operating expenses, we've made the following assumption that we are going to be under contract with American Water for 8.5 months this year.
And so is that the administration's actual expectation, that the American Water deal will end after, in mid-September?
Is it their expectation?
Yeah.
Mr. Lockwood?
It's the assumption we've made. I'm not giving a ironclad statement either way, but it is the assumption we've made. The agreement would, I believe, terminate in September 15th, I believe. So that is the assumption we've made, yes.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I do want to ask also about some of the capital improvements. I noticed there were several, and they were actually passed in this bond ordinance at the last meeting. Under the first category is public facilities project. I see installation of gates at the library. Where would those gates be, and what's the purpose of the gates?
I believe they are internal gates, but if Bob Belvin could speak to
Please
that.
stand up. Thank you.
They are not really gates, but detectors to make sure that any books removed from the library have been charged out.
Thank you. I also noticed the next one is demolition of Welton Street lots. Are these the I guess, vacant homes near downtown?
They're the 3 vacant properties on Welton Street, right around the corner from Drift, I believe.
3 vacant properties.
Okay, and are they owned by the city?
Who owns it?
I don't know. I don't believe they do.
Who owns
Puerto Rican
it?
Action Bureau.
Pratt.
Thank
Puerto
you.
Rican
Puerto Rican Action Board owns it.
Okay. So I'm somewhat concerned then of why the city is putting up the cost to demolish them. First of all, I'm concerned because at least one of them is a beautiful building. It might be in disrepair. It might not look as good as it once did, but it is salvageable, and I mean, I don't understand why they've been allowed to fall into
Based on your knowledge, how do you know it's salvageable? Just by looking at it from the outside? If you did an internal study, did you do structural steel, what did you do?
No, I know, I didn't break into the
Okay,
building.
well, then how do you know? I didn't say you broke into the building, but how did you determine that it's salvageable? What did you come up with?
It doesn't look like it's falling apart from the outside, and it looks
It's
like
not
it's
judged
worth
by
salvage.
Mr. Bradwell. I mean, you should know that.
Have you done a study?
No.
Okay.
What's that?
Then why are you
I'm not
paying, why are you
questioning
using our taxpayer dollars to demolish a building that the city doesn't even own? It says public facilities project. How is it a public project to demolish a home that could be used to house people?
That's a fair question, but for you to make a statement that you don't think it's, that's not really that fair. The other part that you said is good. The other part that you did say was bad. Can anybody answer the question for Mr. Bradwell?
I was asked to fund money sufficient to advance 2 parks projects this year, and one of them is the design of a new park in the wake of a Wolfson parking deck demolition, and the second one was the development of a park on Welton Street where those 3 lots exist.
Thank you.
I was asked to appropriate the demolition money. I've done that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so the anticipation is that the lots are going to be given to the city, sold to the city, or will they remain privately owned?
Does anybody know that answer? I mean, we're gonna make it into a park, so I guess it has to come to, get to the city somewhere or another. Does anybody know the answer?
I don't know the details in that regard.
All right, well, I think we still have an outstanding issue then, and you should strike this from the budget before you approve the budget. It just doesn't make sense to spend money to demolish buildings that don't belong to the city unless there's some kind of guarantee that they're going to be public facilities.
How many years have that been vacant?
I don't know. How many years have that building been vacant? Mr. Patterson, do you know how long they've been vacant?
I don't know the exact details. I believe it's been several years, but I haven't had any direct involvement with them. But I think they've been vacant for a few years at least.
Just so I have it right, we're taking these 3 buildings, we're gonna knock them down, with our plan to put us up, is to put a park in.
That's my understanding of the plan, yes.
Okay?
A city-owned park?
I don't know of any other kind in New Brunswick. So I would be very surprised if it wasn't a city-owned park. Do you know of any other ones that are city-owned?
Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, Devco is building a park where the police trucks used to be.
Okay,
That's-
that's the
that's-
definition of a park, and then we're going to disagree on that. Okay, what else do you have for us?
Is Devco a private entity?
It's not a park, what they're building there.
There's a huge park in the middle of it. I'm just saying, there's a difference between this says public facilities projects. You're appropriating money to destroy buildings that are not owned by the city. And there's been no guarantee made that they'll ever be owned by the city, this land. I think that's wrong, and you should strike this from the budget.
Thank you.
I also want to ask about the replacement of the 911 system, the upgrade to police radios. What specifically is going to be replaced and upgraded?
Captain Miller?
Communication system we have now, 911, and the radio systems that the officers and the dispatchers utilize are becoming outdated. The service providers that we have are no longer able to offer support to certain components of that system, so we are going to start to update and replace those components before it gets too outdated and we get into some kind of trouble. So we're going to redo the 911 and the radio system.
Okay. And are citizens still going to be able to listen to the police radio?
Citizens still be able to listen to the police radio, Captain?
I have no idea.
No idea. Do you think that's an important thing, that citizens be able to listen?
That kind of scanner type of thing? Yeah, I think that's fine with me.
Okay,
I
so,
don't have a problem with that.
so are you going to make sure that that's the case?
If I can make sure that's for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Thank you. That's all the questions I had about the capital expenses. I just had a few questions about the rest of the budget. Bear with me, sorry for the delay. Okay, so I want to understand the Civic Square rent situation. It's, I see there's a rebate. There's also, I think, an increase in the rent or a decrease in the rebate. What is the net result and what's the cause of the changes in the rent, which I can only presume is for the court and the police?
Let's start with the rent as an expense first. That is the rent payments for our occupancy of Civic Square. That is part of a 20 or 30-year lease. It is, the payments are written into the lease document. Every 5 years there's a slight bump. This might be the year where there is one, if it deviates much from 2014. And then on the revenue side, the county refinanced the underlying debt on that building. They are the owner of the building. We argued that we as a tenant were entitled to some of the savings that they were able to secure in the refunding, and that is their contribution towards us sharing in the savings they got through a refund. Refinancing, excuse me, not refund.
Thank you. Next item is on sheet 4A, the reimbursement for administrative in-kind and operating expenses. Can you just shine a little light on what's different this year? It's the figures increased by about $500,000.
Just a recalculation of what we think we are entitled to in terms of a reimbursement. The reimbursement comes from the Board of Education. It's for the garbage and trash that we pick up at their locations. They also help contribute towards the operation and the debt service on city parks that also serve as recess yards, like Murphy Park, Alice Jennings Archibald Park, Feaster Park, and Memorial Stadium.
Are they all city-owned parks?
They're all city-owned parks.
Yes, Mr. Crowder, what else do you have?
Thank you. I want to ask about the animal control services. I noticed on the agenda tonight there's an item for New Brunswick to pick up another town's responsibility and do animal control for North Brunswick. I noticed the budget also has Highland Park no longer subscribing to our services. Can you just give me a little insight into what the future of New Brunswick animal control is in this budget?
Mr. Lockwood?
The future of, I'll give you the 12-month future of animal control here in New Brunswick. We're going to obviously service our own community, and we were asked to provide an animal control proposal to North Brunswick, which we did. Their governing body approved the agreement on Monday of this week. We're asking you to approve it. They will reimburse us up to $39,000 for our services to them. I think it's a fair consideration. We, I believe, collected probably no more than $22,000 from Highland Park. I think 39 is a fair reimbursement to us for our efforts.
Thank you, Mr. Lockwood.
Thanks. Yeah, and I want to just add, that North Brunswick's a much bigger town than Highland Park. Is there going to be additional staffing or measures to meet the needs of this new customer?
Any new staff?
No new staffing. We have 2.5 employees, 2 full-time, 1 part-time, of course. They will pay us for after-hour calls for service in addition to the $39,000 fee. If at some point in time we feel that maybe the part-time employees' hours need to be expanded, we'll certainly look at that. But again, I think we're bringing in fair consideration for our efforts.
So if you find that it's needed during this process, you'll address it.
Yes, we will.
Terrific. On sheet 9A, I see several grants. One of them is from Rutgers for the neighborhood patrol team. I thought that was a great thing, but I don't see it in the 2015 budget. Is there any assurance that they're going to do that again to keep that neighborhood patrol team going?
Yes, in about 5 minutes. It's one of the amendments to the budget.
Terrific. Glad to hear it.
That's how we roll.
About the cable television fees, I notice the city's going to be getting $149,000 from, I guess, Cablevision. Can you tell me what is the time frame for these meetings to be broadcast on the channel that Cablevision gives us?
Let's stick to the budget, please, sir. That's not a budget question. Let's stick to the
I mean,
numbers,
that's
please.
part of the agreement.
You can ask that later.
Okay,
Nice try.
thanks. I see UDAG reimbursement, Urban Development Action Grant, I think that means. What is the reimbursement for? $350,000 in the new budget.
Mr. Lockwood?
We are applying that against debt service that, past debt service that was, would have been in UDAG eligible neighborhoods or UDAG eligible projects. We have a lot of UDAG funding that has been recycled at least 2 times. We in the past have had UDAG grants and lent them to developers for certain projects. They've been repaid to us. They've been recycled at least twice. Our understanding is after they've been recycled twice, we have the right to use the UDAG funds as we see fit. And in this case, we're adding $350 to this year's budget as a revenue item.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, and then I think the last thing I want to ask about is the appropriation for the city clerk's office. It's been stated at these meetings that the city clerk's office is inundated with open requests from me, and why is the budget for the city clerk's office going down?
Mr. Lockwood?
It is, the clerk's office remains funded with 3 full-time employees, and the reason the budget is going down by $24,000 is that we increased the allocation against the sewer utility for the clerk's office this year. We're charging $25,000 worth of expense out of the clerk's office against the sewer utility.
Thank you.
Okay, so this raises more questions now. Are there any other city workers, city departments that are having their budgets offset by the water or sewer utilities?
Mr. Lockwood?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you please tell me which departments and how much is being accommodated by those utilities?
I cannot do that at the moment. I can tell you generally the departments, I'd have to go back through another document to look at the actual allocation, but my office has allocations taken against it. The finance office does. Tax collection, I believe, does. Engineering does. The law department does. But the exact number, you're going to have to allow me to go to, I'm going to have to get you the document. It's not contained in the, this is the net number before you.
Sure, and could you just explain to me the logic of why those salaries that would traditionally be thought of as city government salaries, why are they being partly or wholly assumed by the utilities?
The logic is that all those departments that I spoke of spend time helping both utilities perform their functions. And I would tell you that we have, that's been a policy we've had for many, many years, and that same policy is reviewed by the State Division of Local Government Services, and it is approved.
Is the water utility, or there's other departments that do the same thing, correct?
Yes, I named some departments where we take an allocation against their expenses and apply it to the water or sewer utility, yes.
Okay. Well, I'll look into that further. I do want to just end by saying I think that the city clerk's office generally does a very good job, and I think that they deserve to be funded as much as they ask for, because they do have a difficult job. And I noticed that the office of the mayor is funded at between 2 and 3 times as much, and so $297,000 for salaries and wages for the mayor's office compared to just $120,000 for the city clerk's office seems like something's not right there. The city clerk works for the council, and I think that the council should be, looking out for your own workers there in the city clerk's office. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crowder.
You think highly of those who are in the clerk's office,
Yes.
and I think we do look out for them.
Thank you, Mr. Lappin. First out, you done. Observing, anybody else like to speak on the budget?
Yes. Hi. I'm Anthony Larabino. I live at 20 Jefferson Avenue here in New Brunswick. And I also like to, ask some questions about the 3 buildings on Weldon Street that the city is going to pay to have demolished. Is this, again, so Mr. Credible asked if it was going to be a city park. You actually mentioned in your own comments that we are going to be building a county park here in New Brunswick. That's not going to be a city park. So is it going to be a city park? Is this land going to be owned by the city? Is there a representative from PRAB here to tell us that this property will be owned by the city?
First of all, I don't know what you said. I said county park. I don't think I ever said that.
The Wolfson Deck.
I didn't say that.
Oh, excuse me. Somebody else.
It's okay. I don't know if there's anybody here to speak on from PRAB on who owns the property. I don't believe so. There's nobody here to speak on that.
I think you should strike it from the budget. It's something that we're paying to have done. We don't know if the land's going to be owned by the city. I mean, it's assumed that the land's going to be owned by the city. And I think it's something that we shouldn't go on an assumption by. Later in the year, next meeting, you can just write a resolution that says we're going to tear down these buildings for however much it costs. Is that inaccurate?
I don't know if it's that easy. Mr. Lockton, is it that easy to take it out of the budget and do it later? Yes, Ms. Farley.
There are several things that have to happen in addition to passing this budget in order to activate these allocations. Like the bidding process, for example. I mean, it's not our plan to go out there and tear the buildings down. And so there will be plenty of time to discuss those kinds of specifics as those processes move forward. It seems to me it's proper budget procedure supported by the Department of Community Affairs to anticipate some expenses for which every detail has not yet been resolved, because these are significant items. That would, speaking as somebody who's been through this process once or twice, That would be my.
This money is just being allocated, there's no definite process that it's gonna be done, or bidding, there's all kinds of things like Ms. Carlotti just spoke about.
Okay, so that's, I guess, a more reasonable explanation to that issue, okay. All right, so with this budget, is there gonna be a 5% increase in taxes? Are taxes going to go up?
Yes?
Yes.
Taxes are going up 12.5 cents.
12.5 cents to tax.
12.5 cents. On my house, 12.5 cents, or?
12.5
How does that-
cents for every $100,000 worth of value you have on your house. $100, excuse me.
Oh, I was gonna say, that's not much at all.
If your house is assessed at 118, your increase will be $147. If your house is assessed greater than that, I'm sure you can do the math. I would remind that we were flat last year. Actually, the rate slightly decreased last year. We lost some important grants and revenue streams this year, regrettably forcing a 12.5 cent increase, but it is going up. The spending plan is going up, the levy's going up, they're all within cap. Again, the budget's been reviewed by the Division of Local Government Services. We've been given the authority to adopt tonight, but yes, the taxes are going up.
Okay. So, 5% is, I mean, it's not a huge number, or 12 cents rather, is not a huge number. And, but, you know, for people who pay that tax, some people, it might be a large number. This could mean rent goes up for some individuals. Some individuals who are having a hard time paying their taxes now might have a harder time paying their taxes. And I think that because we lost some revenue in the form of grants and things of that nature, and some of these grants I think were predicted to be lost, that the city should maybe look for 5% of belt tightening instead of coming to the taxpayers, or I'm sorry, I said 5%, 12 cents of belt tightening instead of asking the taxpayers for 12 cents. 12 cents doesn't seem like that much money for the city to find within itself to kind of tighten down a little bit. I don't know how you feel about that, Council President, but that's the way I see it. And
Well, the way I feel about it is I believe that we are not cutting any of our goods and services that I believe are really done well here in the city of New Brunswick. I believe we're not having any layoffs in the city of New Brunswick, which I believe is much more important to a family to lose your job. Do you want to lose your job, or do you want to pay an additional 12 cents? So I think what we're trying to do is maintain the great goods, services, and schools and everything real well that we do here in the city of New Brunswick. And it's like, you get what you pay for, but no one likes to raise taxes, believe me. But I believe that the administration has looked into every detail, and I believe the last thing they want to do is cut services. I believe the last thing they want to do is lay people off and have people lose their jobs. And so this is what we have to do in government. And it's a tough thing to do, but it's the right thing to do. And we were approved to do it, like the administrator said, by the local Board of Finance. So that's my opinion, since you asked for it.
okay. Does the city still send out tax bills on paper in envelopes with stamps?
Yes. I know where you're going. We're
Yeah.
working on that. We are working on it.
All right,
But not everybody can be paperless. It's a choice.
I understand,
Yeah,
but it might reduce costs just a little bit.
Okay. Well, I think I agree with that. We should definitely be moving into doing it.
Okay, and then, while Mr. Credible was talking, I do have another question. Concerns with the water department. The water department, as I understood the conversation, how it was going, the water department, out of their allocated money, some of that goes to other departments in the city. Is that
Correct. The Water and Sewer Department, Mr. Lockton or Mr. Shammy may do work on behalf of that department, so they have to
Right.
budget that money appropriately. If people are doing work for the Water and Sewer Department that are part of their other job, they're getting paid for their services to do that. You're budgeting out for that.
Okay.
That's the way that works.
So it's solely for services, it's not just kind of, okay, we're gonna take $10 from here and move it over here type of thing?
No.
Okay. I just asked that, you know, I didn't see the budget. I was just trying to follow along. How much does the city pay for police vehicles and maintenance? Is it a line item or?
Per year, like?
Right, so maintenance, gas, the fluids per
I
year.
don't know if we have that number tonight, but we can get it for you.
That's reasonable.
We'll get it for you. You want, can somebody get that for the gentleman? We don't have that here tonight, right? So you want to know on a yearly basis, how much we pay for vehicles,
Right.
gas and things?
The whole
Whole
thing,
time?
yeah, the whole
We'll have that, we'll get that information for you.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anybody else on the budget? Anybody else on the budget?
I move
Observing no further applicants from the floor, I will entertain a motion to close the hearing.
I move that the hearing be closed. Second the motion?
Vote, please.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Council Vice President Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes. Amen.
I have a resolution to present at this time amending the municipal budget for the year 2015.
The clerk will read the resolution.
Resolution to amend budget. Whereas it is desired to amend said approved budget now, therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the City of New Brunswick, County of Middlesex, that the following amendments to the approved budget of 2015 be made. Under general revenues, New Brunswick Parking Authority payment in lieu of taxes from $4,500,000 to $4,150,000. Middlesex County Cultural and Heritage Commission Arts Grant from $0 to $1,450. Rutgers Neighborhood Patrol Team from $0 to $130,000. Distracted Driving Crackdown from $0 to $5,000. Items New Brunswick Parking Authority surplus from $0 to $350,000. Total general revenues $84,056,327.91 to $84,192,777.91. Total general appropriations, $84 million. Total general appropriations from $84,056,327.91 to $84,192,777.91.
Move the resolution? Second.
Mr. Council
Yes.
President, before you ask for public comment, I don't know if Mr. Lockton want an opportunity just to highlight those things or whether that's sufficient purposes of.
Well, just to repeat what the city clerk has just read, there's 3 grants that have come in since introduction, and that is the County Cultural and Heritage Commission grant of $1,450, the Neighborhood Patrol grant from Rutgers that Mr. Prattville spoke of, $130,000, and then the Distracted Driving Crackdown, which is a renewal from last year. Those grants have come in, and in addition to that, the Division of Local Government Services asked us to break out $350,000 worth of payment in lieu of taxes that the Parking Authority makes to us, and they asked us to break it out and put it on a separate line item.
Thank you. Will there be public comment on this?
Yes.
Public comment? That's out of my script. Go ahead, Mr.
Good
Graham.
evening once again. I wanted to ask about the parking authority situation. What is, it's being broken out into a separate line item, so it's the city's getting the same amount that they would have?
Correct.
Correct.
And why is that being done?
Go ahead, Mr.
The
Locke.
Division of Local Government Services asked us to do it that way.
And what's the breakdown? What are the 2 items? One is the pilot and those.
They're both pilots. The 350 reflects an increase in contribution from the previous year.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm glad to see there's an increase. The parking authority tends to be very lucrative, and it's good that they share it with the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crabtree. Anybody else on this particular amendment to the budget? Yes, sir.
Yes, well, all this new, this influx of, I guess, $150,000 or a bit more, is that already allocated to be spent, or did it go from an increase of 12 cents in taxes to 11 cents?
It affects the tax rate in no way. Comes in as a revenue,
12 cents
goes
is
out as a new
12
expense.
Okay, so it's, and the neighborhood police team, can you maybe explain that a little bit more, just briefly?
What it is?
Yeah, it's $130,000. Is that paid for overtime or officers, vehicles? What does that all go for? I kind of understand the concept of the neighborhood police team. It's a joint effort between.
Well, I would ask JT to speak to it more specifically,
Okay.
but it funds expanded patrols in the college neighborhoods, for a lack of a better description.
Okay.
And, you know, it ties into the fact that Big Ten football and things like that
Okay,
cause more of a public safety presence than usual.
very good. Captain Miller, anything else on that?
Expanded patrols where we combine Rutgers officers with New Brunswick officers, the same cars or bicycles patrolling the 5th and 6th wards, primarily affecting the off-campus student housing.
Okay.
Very nice. So Mr. Laughlin mentioned Big Ten football. Captain Miller mentioned combined patrols. So does the money also go to pay for expanded overtime hours for when there is a large game here in town? Or is it just for that patrol, the expanded patrol in the housing area of the 5th, kind of 6th ward?
Captain Miller?
During those games, the expanded patrols are used during that time, so it correlates together with that.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Anybody else on the amendment? Seeing none, vote.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar,
Yes.
Council Vice President Fleming,
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti,
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes, this resolution is adopted.
Mr. Council President, we also have Resolution 051501D, resolution to set tax levy for Board of Education for 2015, that needs to be adopted.
Also the resolution to adopt the budget as well.
We have C, we didn't do yet. Someone to read this.
Right, Mr. Clerk will read section 2 of the adopted resolution.
You go.
Council President, I request that the clerk be instructed to read section 2, the adopting resolution for the budget.
The clerk will read the resolution. He was here on time. The clerk will read the resolution.
Be it resolved by the governing body of the City of New Brunswick, County of Middlesex, that the budget hereinbefore set forth is hereby adopted and shall constitute an appropriation for the purposes stated in the sums therein set forth as appropriations and authorization of the amount: A, $30,003,736.40 for municipal purposes, and B, $1,500,256.28 for school purposes in Type 1 school districts only, to be raised by taxation, and E, $1,048,365.77 minimum library tax.
Thank you. Would anybody like from the public like to comment on this?
Seeking adoption, we already had a public comment. We need a motion and a second.
Okay, I need a motion.
Move the resolution. Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Council Vice President Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes, this resolution is adopted.
Now you can go to D.
Now we will need a motion for Resolution R-051501D.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar,
Yes.
Council Vice President Fleming,
Yes.
Council President Garlotti,
What?
Councilmember Garlotti, I'm sorry.
Phew. Flashback moment there. Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes, resolution is adopted. I believe that's it on the budget?
That's it on the budget.
That is it on the budget. Thank you very much for everybody that worked on the budget. You all did a great job. I'm sure it was a lot of hard work. All the department heads and Mr. Pettix and Samuel Klein. Thank you for all your work. Appreciate it very much. Now we will move on to the public hearings that we have scheduled for tonight. Mr. Shammy?
Yes, Mr. Egan, the first matter for public hearing was a bid protest in connection with the Recreation Park project specification number 851-14. In connection with this particular matter, the lowest bidder and the second lowest bidder, I understand, are here and or represented. T&S Contracting was the low bidder. Flanagan was the second lowest bidder. It's my understanding that Flanagan is the party that lodged the bid protest, which triggers this particular hearing before the council. I would ask that the council president call out to see if anyone from either of those two companies is here first.
Is anybody here from Flanagan Corporation or T&S?
I got a call from Flanagan, they don't want to look at their blow it off.
Flanagan is here.
Flanagan's here. How about from T&S? Okay?
Procedure would follow, Mr. Council President, that the company that's lodged the protest would be heard first, and then the low bidder, in this case, would have an opportunity to present its side of the case, and the council could consider their arguments. I know Mr. Hamilton has been involved with reviewing the matter as well. He may have some questions for either party. And then, if you desire to go into closed session to discuss it, that would be the practice.
Thank you. So the representative from Flanagan?
Mr. Council President, Mr. Hamilton has a good point. Just for the benefit of the council, perhaps, again, I know you've been supplied the documentation, but just for Mr. Hamilton to highlight the issue that I believe these two bidders are going to talk about.
Sure.
The issue involves a requirement in the bid specs about participation in a apprenticeship program. And the TNT does not participate in the program. They had indicated that they thought they could meet the requirements by an alternate route, which is to pay a journeyman's rate. And after having looked at it thoroughly, they're welcome to do that. They have to do it anyway, because this is that kind of a contract. And I think we're going to find out from Mr. Tinto, who came in to see me today, and I've been talking to his office in the past, that they're not going to be able to comply with the requirement of going through the apprenticeship program. And if that is still the case, I think that means that the protest is granted, and the second low bidder, which is, there's very little difference in the amount, the second low bidder would be entitled to the award.
Thank you, Mr. Hamilton.
At this time, I think it's appropriate to hear from the bid protest
Yes,
contractor.
yes.
And if, sir, you could just come to the mic, state your name and
Name, sir, and your
Robert Flanagan, president of Flanagan's Contracting Group.
Good evening. Go ahead, sir.
Basically, we're just protesting on the Responsible Bidder Act that you have adopted in your program. So it clearly states that you have to have an apprentice program and pay journeyman, but a journeyman comes from an apprentice program. So you just can't pick a person off the street and pay them as a journeyman.
Okay. Anything else, sir?
That's basically it.
Thank you. Interpreter, come up now. TNS or
Good evening. TNS Builders. Tinto from TNS Builders.
Greg, your name, please.
Tinto from TNS Builders. As the bid protest was regarding the apprenticeship. Now, an apprenticeship is like a helper or someone who's training under journeyman. That only complies to someone that works in that's from the union company or a union contractor. They might ask for an apprentice. Now, I have laborers that I've had since the beginning of my beginning of the company, and we pay the journeyman rate. Now, if you look at the Prevailing Wage Act, a journeyman it's just what do you call it? A craft, basically. That's it, and like a pay rate. So let's say if there's a journeyman class A, they might be only allowed to do like certain stuff like doing heavy labor, using small equipments like forklifts or something like that. Now, journeyman class C is required for you to clean. So you have to make sure you pay them that rate. I'm not sure if you guys are following me. If you have any questions regarding that.
Well, the first part, you're not correct about. You do not have to be a member of a union to have a certified apprenticeship program. So you're wrong about that in the beginning. So that's all I have to say on what you said so far.
But other than that, but I will be paying journeyman rates for those employees that are that are going to be working on the field and everything.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Mr. Council President, if that is the presentment that both companies want to make, what I would ask for at this point is a motion to go into closed session to discuss the recreation park bid, specifically under specification number 85114 regarding the bid protest by the second lowest bidder, who is Flanagan's Contracting, at which time we'll discuss the testimony elicited here at the time of hearing. You could obtain advice from legal counsel relative to the matter, in as much as this may result in litigation. So that would be the basis that we would go into closed session. Before we entertain that motion, if council is so inclined, I just was recently made aware that Mr. Anderson has a conflict with Mr. Flanagan, and that he knows him apparently, relationship professionally through the education. He has advised me that. In light of that, I have indicated to Mr. Anderson that he is not going to have any participation in the closed session or in the vote on this particular matter. So I've asked Mr. Anderson, I'm sorry, to sit out here.
You can entertain the crowd. Can I get a motion to go into closed session? In a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson. Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to need a motion to go back into open session, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson. Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes. I'm going to have our city attorney go over what we just talked about inside there and explain everything. Go
The
ahead.
minutes from the closed session will reveal that the council discussed the issue presented by the bid protester and as well as the bid specifications. Council has requested that legal counsel review the matter closely and that this particular matter be re-agendized for the next council meeting, which is May 20th, for action. So if that's within the council's pleasure, you can entertain a motion to carry this particular resolution.
Can I get a motion to carry this to May 20th? I need a second.
Second.
All in favor? I'm sorry, roll call.
Councilmember Anderson. Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, both parties. Next meeting, we'll have them do file. Thank you. Now we have another public hearing regarding a refuse truck. I think I'm saying that right?
Well, I think you're saying it right, Mr. Council President.
Go ahead.
It's a sanitation truck, or what I used to know as a garbage truck.
Yes.
That would be a bid protest received with respect to the refuse truck specification number 421-14P. With respect to that particular matter, there were two bidders for that particular vehicle. The low bidder and the second lowest bidder, I understand, are here and/or represented. For purposes of basis for the bid, it's my understanding the second lowest bidder, Foley, has objected to the low bidder's bid in as much as there's alleged to be non-compliance with the American-made specification requirement in the bid specifications. Having said that, they've lodged a bid protest of the city awarding to the lowest bidder on the basis that the lowest bidder's bid seems to indicate that it's a Mexican-made or a Mexican-assembled product. Mr. Hamilton, if you want to add to what I just said, if I missed anything.
I didn't just say that I misspoke before saying that someone couldn't be here. They're not blowing off the meeting dates and they couldn't get out of, that's the.
Okay. Thank you.
So I would ask, Mr. Council President, that you call out to see if anyone is here on
Yes, sir.
behalf of either of those companies.
Is there anyone here tonight on behalf of either of those entities? Yes, sir. You are with who?
Sanitation Equipment Corp.
And you, the lady?
This is my daughter.
Oh, she's with you, okay. Anybody here from Foley?
Right here, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Come on up, sir, from Foley. You lodged the complaint, sir. Can you come up to the microphone, please?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, the point of contention.
Sir, you gotta give your name, please, and your address.
My name is Robert DeWigoy. I'm with Foley. I'm representing Foley, the lowest bidder. Actually, the point of contention here is not so much on my end of the deal with the chassis of the truck. The contention is on the body side of the whole unit, the completed unit. In that case, one is being built by sanitation equipment, and the other one is being built by McNeil's Body, who is not represented at this moment. Actually, McNeil's Body is the one who tendered the protest about this issue. And from what I understand, he sent out some documentation to that effect. So I'm not really in a position to speak anything on that in regards to the body itself. I'm not the big expert on the body. I think I should defer to Mr. Marino here on that side.
Okay, so you have no further comment at this time?
No, no sir.
Mr. Council President, just for the benefit of the record, I think what the gentleman was referring to is the submission from McNeil's, I think that's the way it's pronounced, which lodged the protest. They're a subcontractor, if you will, to Foley.
Yes. Okay.
And I believe that information and documentation has been supplied to the council in their correspondence to Mr. Hamilton as well.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Sanitation Equipment Corporation?
My name is Marino Iametti. I'm president of Sanitation Equipment. This is my daughter Carla. The major protest against sanitation equipment is that our leach body is assembled in Mexico. I wrote letters to 4 or 5 individuals stating that all the components of the leach are manufactured in the United States and the body is assembled in Mexico. Now, I also sent a document which McNeil's claims everything is made in the USA. But I'd just like to read something about McNeil's. Oshkosh Corp is the parent company of McNeil's. Said it will build $1 million plant, component manufacturing plant in Mexico that will eventually employ 1,000 people, according to the report in the Milwaukee Journal Centennial News. Now, this building was started in April of 2014. Now, they also say they have no communication or any interest in Mexico. Oshkosh said it has partnered with a Mexican manufacturer for 35 years as part of a joint venture, but the new plant will open in the spring, will be managed by Oshkosh Corp. So they've been in Mexico for 35 years producing stuff. Now, the other thing I want to bring out is sanitation equipment has been furnishing leach bodies to the city of New Brunswick since 1996. All right? Now, we have a sub-dealer in the area in New Brunswick, which is Norcia Corp., who furnishes all the service and warranty for us. Now, in your bid, you require a 5-year cylinder warranty. Now, McNeilius is located in Morgantown, Pennsylvania, with no dealers in New Jersey. That's roughly 100 miles from here. So for 5 years, do you think you're going to get any kind of service and warranty from McNeilius, where you can go less than 10 miles to Norcia Corp., who has been doing your service? Now, also, as far as parts being purchased from sanitation equipment, since 2000, the total cost from sanitation equipment is $506. The rest was been done by Norcia, and their parts, as far as what they've been purchased from us, is very minimal. Also, in the past, as I said, we've been delivering trucks since 1996, and all our bids furnished lettering to your truck, which wasn't in the spec. But I know if I was successful and I delivered a truck without lettering, there would be a problem. But I just, in the letter that I sent most of you, I put in here that the bids, the cost, the bid price submitted by sanitation equipment includes the lettering. Also, in our truck, we're bidding a heavy-duty commercial body. It's not what you have now. And that's part of our bid. Now, McNeilius claims that their PSI, 75,000 PSI, exceeds us. All right, he has a 75,000 PSI quarter inch. I got 100,000 PSI half-inch hopper floor, half-inch hopper sides. Upper plate is bigger. A body third liner, which is 100,000 PSI, which exceeds everything he's saying. Now, he has other disagreements or disputes that he mentioned. He has steel covers. Leach did away with steel covers. He used polyethylene now, which is easier to remove, and they last a lot longer. Even on his tailgate seal, he has a tailgate seal that's bolted on with brackets. We have a track, a steel track welded permanently to the tailgate. It slides in, slides out. It's a 10-minute replacement. I mean, it doesn't make any sense where the disputes come from. Now, our this here Packer, this is a new design. In the past, they had rollers. We are not using rollers. We are using chromium overlay tracks and slides, which is AR400, which is 4 times more abrasive than what McNeilius is using. So I don't understand why he's saying that the leach body is inferior.
Okay, anything else?
One more thing I want to add also, they're talking about providing a product that's made in the United States. It's also important to support your local economy, and we are a distributor in New Jersey, as is Foley. The truck is going to be furnished by Foley as well. All of your parts and service for the chassis will be done by Foley. So based on that, you will get the parts and service and backup based off of anywhere from a 10 to a 40-mile radius from your DPW versus Morgantown, Pennsylvania, where they have no dealers in the whole country for McNeilius, or in the state of New Jersey. So from a taxpayer standpoint, how much is it going to cost you in overtime sending 2 operators with the truck to Morgantown, Pennsylvania with tolls, gas, tire wear and tear, and additional wear and tear on the truck, traveling that excessive amount of miles, even during the warranty period?
I'd just like to say one other thing. Every part on this Packer, this model Packer, is in stock in Brunswick. for availability and service.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion, get a motion to go into closed session. Please.
So
You want to
moved.
say anything, Councilor?
Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes.
For the record, the closed session will discuss the testimony elicited and the documentation submitted in connection with the bid protest under specification number 421-14T, and it may involve advice of counsel and potential litigation, so we're going into closed session.
Thank you. Okay, I want to thank everybody for their patience at this time. I'm going to ask for a motion to go back into open session, please.
So moved.
Okay, got a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes, we're now going to, City Attorney Shammy is going to speak on the minutes. Go ahead, Mr. Shammy.
Mr. Council President, minutes of the closed session will reflect that after much discussion regarding the bid protest and the response by the low bidder, that the council has requested the law department to do additional investigation into some of the facts that have been revealed in this particular protest hearing, as well as some of the legal issues from the specifications perspective. My understanding, the council would like to agendize this matter and carry it to May 20th for consideration at that council meeting. If that's the pleasure of the council, we need a motion.
Can I get a motion for that,
So
please?
moved.
I get a second, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes, I want to thank all the parties for being here, and as the city attorney just said, we'll be agendizing that at the May 20th meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We now have ordinances on second reading. Ordinance 504, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinance of the City of New Brunswick, Chapter 10, Vehicles and Traffic Control Regulations, Loading Zone, adding loading zone on Easton Avenue. Would anybody like to comment on this particular ordinance, 504? Anybody on this ordinance? Anybody?
Yes,
Oh.
yes, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I know, I'm a little guy.
that's all right.
Anthony Laravina, 20 Jefferson Avenue. And I just want to know, and I missed it in the ordinance piece, but where is this on Easton Avenue?
Exact location, Mr. Patterson, do you have it? You seem like you raised your head there. I have given it to you.
If I remember to keep it down next time. It's in front of what used to be Teresa's and the former New Brunswick Parking Authority parking lot there. That's the Glory lot now. It's to provide loading zone on that side of the street, and there is an existing one on the opposite side of the street in front of New Jersey Books, I believe.
Okay.
So it's to provide two loading zones there to help with the delivery and so forth.
Right,
in
there's
that
going to be a
area.
lot of stuff going on. Okay. There's also a crosswalk, which needs to be repainted on Conduct.
Just on the ordinance.
Yes.
Just the ordinance.
Will that loading zone interfere with that crosswalk that needs to be repainted on the corner of Conduct there?
I don't think so. but
Does
Mr.
it
Patterson,
extend this loading zone to go all the way to the corner?
No, it's just for a portion there. There'll be on-street parking up closer to, in front of Bocce and the
you
other
will
place
not
up
set
there.
the crosswalk.
Yeah, and as I think you know, parking is not permitted, nor is loading permitted within 25 feet of the corner anyway.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else on the ordinance? Seeing none?
Move the ordinance.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes. We have ordinances for discussion on first reading, 501, ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinance of the City of New Brunswick, Title 15, Buildings and Construction, Chapter 15.04, Uniform Construction Code.
Move the ordinance setting down May 20th for public hearing, same date to be advertised.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes. Ordinance, first reading 502, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinance of the City of New Brunswick, Title 5, Chapter 5.32, charitable solicitations, and Chapter 5.96, solicitors and canvassers.
Move the ordinance setting down May 20th for public hearing, same date to be advertised.
Need a second?
Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes. 503, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinance of the City of New Brunswick, Title 9, Chapter 9.04, offenses against public peace and decency.
Move the ordinance setting down May 20th for public hearing, same date to be advertised.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes. We have resolutions 502. And we're holding which one again?
Number 9.
5 and 9,
5 and 9.
and we voted already on 37 and 38.
We voted on 37 to 557. Would anybody from the public wish to comment on any of the resolutions this evening? Yes, sir. Come right up.
Good evening once again, Sean Strattonville, New Brunswick. I'm not sure if this one's being held, but 505, is that that's being held? Okay. Bear with me, there were no agendas available by the time I got here, so I'm going to have to go page by page. 506, this is the 5-year consolidated plan. I was at the hearing. My only issue with this is that some of this money is going to go towards that Wolfson County Park. Is that correct?
Mr. Patterson, can you speak on this, sir, please?
The budget proposes to have up to, I think it's $236,000 for planning and engineering for the development of a park where the Wilson deck is now. How that's all going to be owned and who's going to manage it and so forth, that's all those details have yet to be worked out. But we think providing a park down in this location is a good thing to be doing, so we're putting some dollars in there. Some of these dollars are in there as our regular allocation of CDBG dollars. An additional portion is a reallocation of funds that were originally going to go to Westchester County, and they are in there as a contingency if HUD eventually ends up allocating them to us on a permanent basis.
Great.
But we think it's a good project.
Very good. Thank you.
I don't disagree that it's a good project, but I know that these HUD grants are supposed to go towards neighborhoods that are low to moderate income, and while downtown may technically qualify, I don't think of downtown as the poorer part of town. Do you think it's right for the HUD money to be going towards a downtown park near these luxury buildings?
I think it's a great idea. No. HUD thinks it's okay.
I mean, you don't think there's other neighborhoods that could use a park or use
I didn't say that. I didn't say
$236,000?
that. You asked me a different question, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a great, I concur with Mr. Patterson. I think it's a great idea and a great location. Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
The Trust for Public Lands did a report a few years ago, specifically identified the area down in this region as one of the areas that is underserved with public spaces. The project, project will be going in, the park will be going in about 2 blocks from a significant number of low and moderate income housing, including the Furtano Towers, the Riverside, which is the other former New Brunswick home site, Hope Manor, and other projects down there. So it is in an area that is the low-income population. I believe is about 74% of the population down there. So it not only meets it, it substantially exceeds what HUD has for the requirements for it to be a low, moderate income neighborhood. Additionally, there are many low, moderate income workers in the downtown area who are working down here who would be able to use it too, even though they might live a little bit farther away. And I'm sure people from all over town are going to hopefully go to this park. It's a needed facility.
Very good, Mr. Patterson. Thank you.
I want to reiterate, I'm not against the park. I think it's a good thing. I think there's a pattern here of, things being pushed forward and approved without necessary questions being answered, such as who will maintain it, because a park could easily fall into disrepair if there's nobody to maintain it properly. Also, the county's taking credit, they're calling it a county park, but now I'm seeing city taxpayer dollars going towards it, or in this case, federal money going towards it. Is it going to be a county park, a city park, or a combination? What is the actual, who's going to be in charge of this park?
As I said previously, some of the details are still to be worked out, but I mean, this is an example of partnerships between all different levels of government. You have the federal government, the county government, the city government working together here to build a park in downtown New Brunswick. It's going to benefit our residents. And Mr. Credible indicating that he doesn't like it going down here, thinks that we should do it in other parks. I'll point out to you, we held, I think you have on your agenda tonight about recreation park, to do a major park out there, which we've been talking about for a long time. So it's not just downtown, we're doing parks. The last park we did was AJA Park out on Van Dyke Avenue next to Schwartz Homes.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson.
Okay, well, I look forward to the park being open. One last question about the park. Is it going to be open 24 hours a day? Or is it going to be?
We're working out all the particulars. I wouldn't think they would have that answer right now. When we know, we'll let you know.
Okay. I know if the city park would close at dark, there's a lot of people in downtown, it's kind of like a vibrant area.
What else you got?
I would work out the particulars. Thank you. Number 08 is the liquor license. Can you just explain what's the status of this liquor license for McCormick's?
Mr. Shammy?
Yeah, I understand after appeals to the ABC, the licensee was able to renew for 2 license years. It's still going to be inactive, but that's what the clerk waits for is the special ruling from the Division of Alcoholic Beverage Control to allow the license to be renewed. And when that approvals came through, they bring it to the clerk, and then we, as a body, have the authority to renew the license. The details of which I can't give you why they were down at BBC in Trenton, but they've been given authority to be able to renew at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you. 510 is the matter of Jordan versus John Quick. And this is involving Detective Walcott. Can you just tell me a little more about this case? Is this the case with the false arrest accusation, or is this the seizure of the Nissan?
No, this is yes, thank you. This is as I advised at the last council meeting, this is an allegation of false arrest in connection with a robbery investigation. And apparently this individual is alleging he was falsely arrested. Details beyond that, I can't really give you.
Okay. You are correct, sir. It's a false arrest incident.
Okay, and I just, I asked before if there were cases that had been settled dealing with false arrests, and I think it was said that there weren't any, but wasn't there a settlement for $75,000 recently?
I cannot quote off the top of my head when cases were settled and for how much. Obviously, if Mr. Credible has a specific name, I can look into it. But I would, if I were a bet man, I would say that the city somewhere along the way perhaps has settled the case where the allegation, one of the allegations may have been false arrest. So I wouldn't sit here and doubt that.
So you said you're not a betting man?
I'm not a betting man, Mr. Credible.
Well, I think it is very serious, and I don't mean to joke. I think the man's name is Jorge Lopez. He had to spend 11 months in jail. And the city paid the settlement because, probably something wasn't on the up and up there. When you pay 75 grand, that's a concern for me. And now that we're seeing subsequent accusations, I think something needs to be done in a preventative and proactive way. And I think I'm not the only person that feels that way. Does the council agree? Is there anything you can do to focus on this issue or to prevent these false arrests from happening?
Let's stick with the resolutions, Mr. Credible, please.
Yes, I'm asking, because the city is now paying money for an attorney to defend against a false arrest allegation, is there anything that the city can do to be proactive so that the taxpayers don't have to pay more money for more lawyers for more false arrests?
Mr. Credible, Listen, mistakes are made in all walks of life, okay? If a mistake was made by a certain individual in the police department, the water department, the parks department, if it went to the court of law, which I believe Mr. Shammy said it did, and they found, the law found that we made a mistake, then we have to pay the price for that. Okay, we discourage those things to happen, obviously. We don't want those things to happen in the city of New Brunswick.
I might want to
Yes,
add
would you like
that
to say something, Ms. Escobar?
case by case, you cannot generalize all the cases. So I think that if you see that there's more of the same, based on the allegations and it was found to be true, then I will see, but I don't think that right now we have that situation. So it's something that we should monitor to see case by case, to see if it's a larger problem, like you're saying, a challenge, or if it just, it was a person, somebody else, there's several things that can happen that it doesn't mean that it's our fault. So I would caution to be case by case and look at it and see.
So the key word there for me was monitoring. Can we monitor these cases and keep track of them and have the council presented on a regular basis with a list of the cases and the outcomes?
I don't know how much can we provide you, but I would say that, again, I don't think we have seen that many cases to warrant that yet. But if it's something that we continue to see, I believe that we could just see it, and if there is a pattern, there's something. But right now, I don't think that that's the case, to be honest.
Okay, thank you for your honesty. Bear with me, I'm sorry. Uh, 530. Can you tell me a little bit about the accusations against, I guess it's the police director, Anthony Caputo?
Mr. Shammy?
Yeah, this is a lawsuit. Actually, there's no specific allegations against Mr. Caputo that I know of in this case. What I know about it, and what's public knowledge is that Mr. Caputo is the director of the police department, and anytime the police department gets sued and its officers, the director gets named. This was an incident involving a Mr. Anderson who was shooting a gun, which turned out to be a starter pistol at a crowd in the city of New Brunswick, and officers returned fire. And a civil suit resulted as a result of the incident. I know criminal charges were brought against Mr. Anderson. Wait a second, no, I'm thinking of Rodriguez. I'm lost.
Okay.
No, I'm looking at the other one here. I apologize. Arthur Anderson, the lawsuit, I think in this particular case, deals with an allegation that Mr. Anderson was denied promotion when he was entitled to it. That and other benefits and annuities that he felt he was entitled to and denied. I apologize, Mr. Crowder. There's so many cases going around in my mind, I'm trying to get them all straight sometimes with respect to not just city work, but my private practice.
Thank you.
Understood, sir. So regarding that case, is it true that part of the accusations are that there was a superior officer who used a racial slur against the officer, Arthur Anderson?
I don't know all the particulars of this particular matter. So
You don't know the answer to that?
I don't, it could be, could not be. I don't recall off the top of my head.
Okay, I think
Similar to me confusing this with the Rodriguez case, I guess I can't.
Okay.
Without looking at the file.
Well, I think it's a very serious issue, especially in light of other incidents of racial slurs being used by city personnel. Will the council, will you look into this for me? Will you look into these accusations that a city employee himself is making?
Who said that he made that? You're the only one that said that he made it. I mean, what do you want me to look into?
Look at the case, look at the allegations. Well, I mean, will you look into this? Because if that's the accusation, if a city employee, a sworn officer is saying that he...
Tell me what you're saying. You're saying that a city police officer used a racial slur?
I'm saying that I believe this case, one of the accusations is that a police sergeant used a racial slur directed at either Mr. Anderson or one of his co-plaintiffs.
As much as we'll get into the case, we'll find out whatever we're entitled to give to the public, we will. Whatever we're not allowed to give because for legal reasons, we won't give. So That's all I can
And again, I'm not even necessarily talking about the case now, I'm talking about what are we gonna do about this problem, this pervasive problem of racism in the city government. People have spoken up about the issue of racism in general. What are you gonna do about racism in the city government?
Mr. Crabble, you think that we have a problem with racism, and other people do, but I don't see a huge thing coming about us every time with racial divide here in the Brunswick.
Well, maybe you're not looking in the right places. Look at the case. Look at the case.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
532, the animal control. I've already asked about other animal control matters, but what is this one? The Raritan Hospital for Animals?
Who can answer that in the hospitals?
Yes, please.
Yeah, that, Vice President, that's for emergency services when Blooming Kennels is closed.
Okay.
Or if there's an animal that needs emergency attention, we take it there. That's why
It's
this.
for emergency service for the animals. When Blooming Kennels is closed, we go to this place.
Yeah, and if they can't handle it, if the animal is in distress, this is what it's for.
Okay.
So was Blooming Kennels closed? And if so, why?
No, Blooming Kennels is not closed.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I just can't remember.
Harry, I'm not like you.
We're talking about extra business hours. So Blooming is open
Oh,
from
okay.
7 to 7.
Above and
the
beyond
dog gets
Blooming.
hit by a car in New Brunswick at 8 p.m. Where are we going to bring it?
Okay, so
Not
this is
to a
after
closed
hours.
kennel.
I couldn't hear it. Mr.
That's
Marqueta doesn't have
okay.
a
I tried
microphone.
to, I said it before, this is a service that's provided that after hours.
Thank you. I already asked about the other animal control. And then the last, I just want to ask about these last 4 resolutions. It's some $25 million in general obligation bonds. Does that mean borrowing money? And if so, why are we borrowing it? And why are we borrowing $25 million?
Sure. We have on June 15th, the $25 million that's indicated here coming due. We've been borrowing money through bond anticipation notes, and now we're going out for permanent financing. We're going to bond the issue. We feel that the market is good for it. We think interest rates are going to be increasing over the next 6 months or a year, so we think it's a good time to lock in on the interest rates, if possible.
Thank you, Mr. Pettit.
And then there were just a few additions to the agenda, right? Is it 555? Can you just explain what that means? Rider of
Treasurer, rider of the police department?
Yeah, rider of
Mr.
revenue.
Pettit, could you answer that, please?
One of the comments from the Division of Local Government Services and looking at our budget was, although it's automatically authorized, they wanted a resolution in place to justify the extra duty trust fund that we have in place. So it was a matter of doing some housekeeping on that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pettit.
I'm sorry, I just need to follow up. What is an extra duty trust fund? Is that where the money goes when companies hire the police?
We charge for every extra duty police assignment. In addition to the officer being paid, we charge an administrative fee and we charge a use of car fee.
Yes.
That goes into the trust account.
Yes.
We then bring those funds in as a matter of revenue in our municipal
Gotcha.
budget.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Crowder. Anybody else on the resolutions? Resolutions only. Resolutions. Yes, sir. Name and address, please.
Yes, Anthony Lavina, 20 Jefferson Avenue here in New Brunswick. So our 51535 is going to be some street improvements, crosswalk improvements.
535?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Locke. Crosswalk safety improvements in roadway warning lights.
Are you interested in the locations?
Yes.
I'm interested in the locations in the fact that, are there going to be all 4 crossways or just across one street, not across the other, the lighted crosswalks? And then I am interested that they're kind of isolated islands unto themselves, I guess. Like this doesn't continue across Lee or doesn't continue across Commercial, that sort of thing, or across Livingston, but I know Livingston's all
Why don't you
right
let them give you the locations and then you can determine that? Oh, they're in the paper.
I'll give you the locations and I'll defer the more specific questions to Mr. Goulden, who's managing the project. Handy and Remsen will be one location, Ward and Remsen, Comstock and Lee, Delavan and Lee will be the 4 in-road lighting, pedestrian safety projects that we're going to take on.
Thank you. Mr. Goulden, could you please answer the gentleman's questions, if any of them, like, go all four-cornered? Go ahead.
Are these lighted intersections going to be across all lanes of traffic, or just on one street? Okay.
Through the chair, please.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Okay, and then they also seem like they're a little bit isolated from each other, like as if, you know, if I'm walking down the street, let's say on Ward Street, or not on Ward Street, on Handy Street, and I cross Remsen Avenue, can I then cross Commercial Avenue or Troop Avenue, Lee Avenue, between Livingston and Commercial? Are there traffic lights at those intersections that provide for crossing, or are those eventually going to be improved as well?
Two of the locations are at a school, so we're doing that to protect the children at the school. One is at Handy and Remsen, where there is no traffic signal, so we're trying to improve safety at that point by providing one of these lighted crosswalks. And the fourth one is at Ward and Remsen, which again, there's a senior housing complex up there, and we've gotten a couple complaints and requests from those folks to provide some way of them getting across Remsen Avenue.
Okay, perfect. I think that's fantastic. And then lastly, the fireworks celebration on the 4th of July is not happening in Boyd Park this year. It's happening in Bugalo Park. It's resolution 547.
That is what the Recreation Department is proposing for this year.
Yes, they were proposing for Bugalo Park and not Boyd Park.
Was there an issue with Highland Park this year? Because usually it's a conjoined effort, bigger fireworks type of thing, because we can contribute, you know, combined funds.
I know Highland Park is having fireworks, I don't know what day, but it's coming off of Donaldson Park. We're part of the Recreation Department, they're looking to shoot off fireworks in Bugalo Park on the second.
All right, thank you.
That's all.
Thank you. Anybody else on the resolutions? Seeing none?
Read the resolutions.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes. We'll now move to the public discussion portion of the meeting. Remember, you all have 5 minutes to speak. Please say your name and address. Come on up.
Hi, yes, my name is Danielle Moore. I live at 188 Rutgers Street. I'm here today, well, to start off saying it's good to see that the city is finally working on Joyce Comer and Charles Street. Is it the same company that did the work before?
This is the same company that did the work before?
What worked before?
On Charles Street?
Did the construction to stop the flooding from happening on Joyce Comer and Charles Street due to where what they did, they made it worse?
I'm sorry, I'm not following.
Is it the same company to fix it
We're trying to fix the location now. By, I'm sorry.
Give her the time frame of what happened about the project. Please.
Well, the current project is intended to take water and sewer pipes out from within, that run through the mouth of the culvert, which may be causing debris to build up inside of, which may then be contributing to the flooding problem. The flooding problem happens to exist on its own. It is a low point in the city, and there's a stream that runs through it. It's ripe for flooding just by, pure hydrology. But you have expressed a number of times that you're concerned with the flooding. We've looked at it. We think we're going to take the water and sewer pipes out from this culvert, which may make the water flow through the culvert quicker, not have debris build up inside the culvert. So that's the project we're doing now. Once we started digging test pits, we ran into contaminated soil, which caused the project to stop for a couple of weeks till we identified the contaminated soil, received cost estimates for the cost of now trucking that material out. the cost of disposing it somewhere. We expect the project to start again on Monday.
Okay, thank you. Also, it's good to see that how the city is advertising about flushing the pipes to the public instead of doing it in a newspaper where everyone doesn't read the newspaper. So I will say it's good to see that and hope the city will continue to advertise when flushing the pipes in date. But my concern with water situation, will you please tell me how long the fire hydrant on the corner of Comstock and Lee on the side of Redshaw School, how long is that fire hydrant going to be out of service?
Who can help us with that?
I was looking for Mr. Weaver, who apparently has left. I don't know the
We
answer,
will
but we
look
can
right
get
into
you
that,
one.
man, and find out what's going on and why it's not being worked on and fixed.
I'm sorry, can you give me the location again?
That's Comstock on the side of Redshaw School, close to Lee Avenue.
Okay.
It's out of service?
It's bent over and it says a sign out of service,
Okay, we'll get right
where it
on
looks
it.
like someone hit it.
Okay.
Okay, I thank you for fixing the light at Livingston and Sanford, but we have a situation at Livingston and Delavan, far as the cars parking on the corner on the school side, and it's blinding a view of the walkway. Sergeant Triggs, he can be the witness of that due to where he's been giving tickets with the car parking on the corner where you don't have a sign, no parking on the corner, no yellow paint. So if you can please put something up to stop the cars from parking on the corners due to where it's putting a blind view where the crossing guard cannot see the kids when they're crossing.
So you're telling me the cars are parked on the corner?
Yes.
And they're not being ticketed?
No, I said Sergeant Triggs, he's the witness of it happening due to where he's been giving tickets. So you can ask him and he can explain to you how it is.
That's against the law in Brunswick. They shouldn't be parking there.
Well, no yellow paint, no parking to the corner, but.
You don't have to have those things. It's still, it's one of the questions on your driving test.
Well, I'm still asking you to do something soon as possible to stop the cars from parking there due to where the crossing guards cannot see the kids, a little kid at the crosswalk.
We will get on that with our painting service that we do in the summer with the Brunswick Parking Authority. We'll get a fresh coat of yellow paint on there on those curbs.
Well, okay, I hope you do it soon, like I said.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
and then one last thing, that's where I mentioned to you before with the Railroad Avenue and Baldwin Street, where I mentioned to you, once you did the work to replace that road, it was a guard railing there, you never put it back up due to where you have a school bus at the Adult Learning Center on Baldwin Street. You have buses that come through there, but you have people who are impatient coming from Handy Street and Railroad, going through the parking lot on a one-way street, coming around a one-way curve. So I hope the city will put the guard railing back up that they took down to stop people from trying to not be in traffic and cut through a one-way street.
Okay.
And-
So there was a guardrail there before.
Yes, it was, and like I said.
Do you have before and after pictures by chance?
Believe me, I can get you the before, believe me, I'll get them for you, but just to show you where it's still illegal coming through a parking lot.
Okay.
You can have the pictures, but I still like to show you just to come around the curve, just to get to the other side. Now, do you see what I'm saying? Like I said, I will give you the pictures you can
Well, I'm
have.
sure the guardrail was in place before for that particular reason, so we'll try to get it back.
Well,
up here.
I hope due to where not to wait
Everybody have the address?
too much longer. Like I said, God forbid, we don't want anyone to get hurt. Due to where that is a school right there, Adult Learning Center. So
Okay.
please, I hope the city will take action to do something. I appreciate it. Thank
got it.
you.
Thank
Here you go.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the council. I'm Jason Rowe, Director of Union Square. As I've emailed you guys, we've continued our discussion on earned sick leave. You've all received a copy of a proposed ordinance. I just want to present tonight some distinguished guests, busy people with busy schedules who stuck through a very long meeting, 3 physicians who serve at Robert Wood Johnson, who are going to talk to you a little bit about their perspective on sick day.
Sure, thank you.
Good evening to the council. My name is Dr. Chirag Patel. I'm a medicine resident at Robert Wood Johnson. I've been there, this is my 3rd year. I just wanted to come in and talk to you and voice my approval of the earned sick leave law, the ordinance that you have in front of you. We were, as members of the medical community, we were thrilled that Newark and Jersey City passed similar pieces of legislation to help people get to their doctor's appointments, stay home when they are ill, and prevent the spread of contagious diseases like the flu. To highlight this, I want to talk about a personal case that I had with a patient of mine. I've been seeing him for the past 1.5 years. He was unable to make his last 3 to 4 clinic appointments, causing him to slip on his blood pressure checks, unable to get his medication refilled, getting proper blood work done, because he was afraid of getting fired and missing work to make his clinic appointments. Long story short, he ended up coming to the ER last week where I had to convince him, it took me an hour to convince him to stay overnight because his blood pressure was through the roof and he was at very high risk of having a stroke. This is a gentleman who was, it took me almost an hour to convince him, and that's not including the half-an-hour phone call I had to spend with his boss to convince them to let him stay in the hospital overnight. To us, this is a public health issue, bottom line, and it affects everyone, not only the patient, it affects you and me when we walk around the street, it affects families, it affects the children as well. I'm going to actually pass it off to one of our other resident physicians, Dr. Shawan Alara, who's a physician in psychiatry.
Thank you.
Hi. Good evening. Yes, I'm a first-year resident in psychiatry with Robert Wood Johnson. So I just wanted to add a little bit to what Dr. Patel said from the mental health perspective. Sure. I think that's something that could get overlooked, but obviously there's a huge amount of prevalence in our community. So for me, I'm encouraged when I meet patients or take care of patients with anywhere from mild to serious mental illness who are independent, and part of that independence is them being able to hold a job. They find that very helpful, very integral to their success in the community. And when they come to their appointments, we encourage them to look for warning signs, you know, what you can do to prevent having, when you go into crisis, when you have a mental health break of some sort. And those patients are frequently putting that off because they don't want to miss a day of work. And that can precipitate a very long hospital stay in a psychiatric ward, lost productivity in that sense. And I think that, you know, them having that opportunity would be really helpful to their success and to everyone in the community. And my second point was just that, of course, we have a lot of stigma surrounding mental health. Even though we're working on it, there's still a lot present. And I think that paid sick days, in a way, don't distinguish between mental health or physical health issues. So this gives people an opportunity to take a sick day for possibly a mental health issue and not have to reveal what that might be for. So I think it's very important, and we would think that was really helpful for our patients to have. And we have one more physician with us.
Sure.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for having us and hearing us. My name is Dr. Etienne. I also work at Robert Wood Johnson. And like Dr. Patel and Dr. Alaria, I've had several and a variety of patient encounters where patients have had their medical care interrupted by the fact that they are afraid to lose time off of work. I had a patient in the hospital that had a bleeding blood vessel that came in. We resuscitated him overnight, and the next day, to fully repair that vessel, we had to go under endoscopy and actually visualize and operate on the vessel. He had an obligation at work the next day for which he refused to miss, and because of that, despite our pleading, and despite the fact that this patient fully acknowledged that he could potentially bleed out and die before he would be able to get back to the hospital, he refused to have the endoscopy because we couldn't get him on the table fast enough, and pulled out his IV and walked out. I also have the privilege of working at an outpatient clinic, Eric V. Chandler, some of you may be familiar with the name, that provides much needed medical care to patients that are not able to often have enough insurance to get medical care otherwise. And you know, the interesting thing about being a healthcare provider is that you actually have a privileged view into the details and the depths of a person's life, of their psyche, of their home life, of whatever illegal activities or legal activities they are participating in. you have a view of things that we don't normally see when we interact with patients or interact with people on a regular basis in other forms of work. And the thing that I've noticed also is that this does not only affect the individual, it actually also affects whoever that individual is responsible for. And this has an effect on a wide variety of socioeconomic groups, particularly those that are more of a working class. They may be the only person working in their home, but at the same time are also responsible for taking care of children and grandma and grandpa. And what that means is that they may not be able to take sick leave for them, and that may be okay for them. But that also means that they cannot take sick leave to get grandma to their appointment. And that means that grandma can't get her blood pressure medication. And that also means that she's at increased risk of things like a stroke or CHF exacerbation, where she could end up losing her life, or at least losing a major portion of quality of life. And that also extends into the kids. I don't have to elaborate into that. And this may seem extreme, and this may seem also something that we don't necessarily have to deal with in this room. We may or may not have had personal experiences. But if anyone has seen movies like Crash, for example, there are worlds that we do not experience, that we do not understand, that people live around us. We pass people in the street and they have a completely different life. And so sometimes it's hard for this to actually hit home and to be palpable to us, to realize that these patients' lives are completely altered by the fact that they cannot do something such as take a paid sick day. And why is that so important? It's easy for us to manage that and shift that around. But for them, that means that they're choosing between putting food on the table and providing care for either themselves or their family members. And that also could mean that they may be considered for being laid off for someone else that is not going to take those paid sick days. So it is my belief that as we live, we don't live to work. We work to live, to provide a living. And if that living isn't a healthy one, and if that living isn't spent with other people keeping our loved ones healthy, then how much is it worth to really do that work? So I really do think that this is something extremely important for all of us to really consider, even if it's not a personal experience of ours, to step outside of our existence and consider the issues that may arise for someone else, and the complications that may arise for someone else in this situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wants to address the council this evening?
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Mirza, yo soy miembro del Proyecto Esperanza.
Good evening, my name is Mirza Rabiela. I'm a member of the Esperanza Neighborhood Project.
Yo estuve aquí el 1 de abril, di testimonio el 1 de abril y he vuelto para compartir algo que me pasó a falta de días de enfermedad.
I was here and shared testimony at the council meeting on April 1st, and I'm returning here tonight to share about another experience that happened to me because of lack of paid sick days.
Yo tengo cáncer, hace 2 semanas estuve en el hospital por 1 semana. Entonces fue muy triste estar ahí yo sola porque mi esposo trabaja para una agencia y tenía que irse a trabajar.
I'm suffering from cancer right now. 2 weeks ago I had to be in the hospital for a week, and it was very sad for me. My husband works through a temporary employment agency. He doesn't receive paid sick days, and so I was alone that entire week in the hospital.
Tuvimos dificultades porque no teníamos quien nos cuidara a la niña para también llevarla a la escuela.
It was also difficult for us because during that time we didn't have arrangements to take our daughter to school.
Toda la comunidad nos apoya en este proyecto, en esta ordenanza, y la verdad nos gustaría que ustedes apoyaran esta ordenanza, nos beneficiaría a toda la comunidad.
We believe that the whole community is really united in support of this ordinance, and we hope that you as a council would also support us in the ordinance.
Hay que considerar que es importante, para nosotros es importante esos días, porque si tuviéramos esos días, por ejemplo, mi esposo lo hubiera tenido, él hubiera llevado a la niña a la escuela y hubiera compartido tiempo conmigo, para no estar yo sola.
And it's really important for us as community members to have paid sick days. In my circumstances, my husband would have been able to take our daughter to work and then accompany me in the hospital on those days.
También queríamos decirles que recolectamos 185 más firmas para juntarlas con las 1000 firmas que dimos la vez pasada.
We also wanted to share that we collected 185 more signatures that we'd like to add to the record in addition to the 1,000 signatures, 1,000 plus that were submitted on April 1st.
Estas firmas las recolectamos juntos con United Square, New Labor y el Proyecto Esperanza.
And these signatures, petitions, we collected together with Unisquare New Labor.
Yo les agradezco que nos den la oportunidad de estar aquí y esperamos que nos puedan apoyar con la ordenanza y lo que es más pronto que se pueda. Gracias.
And I just want to thank you for allowing us to speak, and we hope that as soon as possible your support is in this ordinance.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Charles Bergman. I'm the director of the Esperanza Neighborhood Project. I actually am going to share a very brief testimony on behalf of a business owner who could not be here, who's a member of our Esperanza Project Small Business Coalition. And I'll just read the short testimony that she shared and asked that could be shared on her behalf tonight. My name is Maria Garcia. I am the owner of Las Delicias Bakery, otherwise known as Pastries World, at 130 French Street here in New Brunswick. I would like to share with you that it is very positive for us as an employer to pay sick days for our employees when they have to be off for a day or two because of illness. This way they come to work happier and more energetic to work. Also, they will not, therefore, infect other employees. I personally have a better interaction with my employees after I put into practice sick days to let them go home when they are sick for a day or two. They last longer with me as employees, and the jobs that they do get completed with fewer difficulties. For these reasons, I support this proposal, the proposed ordinance, and hope that the City Council will also support it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening once again, Charles Gradeville. I want to begin by showing my support for paid sick leave for New Brunswick residents. The city employees have it, state employees have it, federal employees have it. Why not the people? I really think we need to do the right thing and pass this. I can say firsthand, we work at what's that? I can say firsthand, I've worked at restaurants, and in general, the policy is if you can't get your shift covered, you're fired. So that's no way to run a restaurant, but that's the way almost every restaurant is run, where people are forced to come in sick and serve people food if they can't get one of their coworkers to cover their shift. And New Brunswick has a good restaurant scene, and I think that this would be something that would make it stronger and make it better. So will you please support this? Will you please support the paid sick leave ordinance?
On the surface, I think it's a great idea. We have some questions that we need to be answered, and we're looking into them. I don't think anybody on the face of it, I don't want to speak for anybody, it's a great thing for everybody to have. In my business, where I come from, we don't have paid sick leave, just because you think everybody has it. We don't have guys that work in construction for 30 years. If their wife has a baby, they don't get paid sick leave. We don't have any of those things where I come from, in my industry, just to be on the record for that. So I wish everybody can get it, but we're having some questions that we need to be answered, and we're all looking into it, and we'll address it when we feel comfortable with it, or don't feel comfortable with it.
Well, thank you. I stand with everybody here and calling on you to ask those questions quickly and move forward, because people need this. I got to ask about the latest violation from the water utility. What the heck is going on at the water utility?
Mr. Lockman.
Well, the notice was, I think, pretty clear. Mr. Cradiville has asked Jim Cowley a number of questions about it. What else do you need to know that you don't know?
Well, through the chair, please tell us what you'd like to know.
I'd like to know why there was a violation in, I guess, December, and the public wasn't notified until April. That's the main question.
Mr. Lockwood?
The, as I said in my memo to council that Mr. Prattville recently opened, that between January 3rd and March 12th, the water treatment plant licensed operator in charge, Lex Wallace, and American Water personnel were having discussion with the DEP about the matter, providing them with additional documents, trying to assess whether there really was a violation or not. There is still some thought that the violation was so technical and was in some ways not entirely justifiable. We didn't have the information to overturn the DEP feeling, so we accepted their violation and we responded with notice. But there was a period of time where there was a lot of discussion back and forth on whether or not there truly was a violation or not. Once they gave us a notice of violation, we complied with their requirement to get a Tier 2 notice out. As I said to you, had it been an emergency or had a boil water requirement been the case, the public and you would have been notified earlier.
Thank you, Mr. Lockwood. Mr. Crowley?
Yes, and so at the most recent council meeting, by the time that meeting rolled around, the council had received a memo from Mr. Laughlin. Can you tell me why didn't you think it was important enough to speak about it at the last council meeting? I know, Mr. Egan, you contacted me and told me that you hadn't read the memo. Did any of the other council members read the memo prior to the meeting? Did they think this was important to mention at the meeting?
I can't answer for them. If they'd like to answer, they can answer. If they don't want to answer, they don't have to answer either way.
Are we talking about the April 15th meeting?
Yes.
I was not present. So it would have been difficult for me to read it. Just saying.
Anybody else wish to respond? No one wants to respond.
No, I was just
Okay.
gonna say that, I don't really receive it, that day or not, so I don't know, why I didn't, so I might have read that you did, provoke me to have, ask a question, so maybe I'm satisfied with what I read.
Well, I'm just very concerned because I know I'm certain it was an honest mistake that you didn't read the memo before we spoke about this. But I'm very concerned because you've already said that the city council does not play a role in the creation of the agenda for the meeting, that the mayor's administration produces the agenda. You've said that you don't respond to emails. And now you've told me that there was an important memo that was given to you prior to the council meeting and prior to your discussion with me, and you didn't read it. I want to know what...
That's not what I said. I said that there was a letter, an envelope that was in my packet. I didn't say the word memo. I said there was a letter that I didn't open up.
Letter, forgive me, the letter. So you didn't read the letter?
I didn't know it was in there, right.
And the other members of the council haven't spoken up and said they read the letter. Does the council read what it is given prior to the meetings?
Yes.
So this was just an aberration, just you didn't read this one.
I can't be more honest than I was. When I read it, I called you back, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
So I'm telling you the truth. And if you think on the surface that anybody here wants a problem with our water in the city of New Brunswick, we all live here. Why in the world do you think that we want a problem with the water? We're just as concerned about it as you are. But I believe, like I told you before, or whoever I told before, in government, in life, people make mistakes. And when they're mistakes that are criminal or whatever, they should be punished accordingly. But if you think for a second that Mr. Lockwood or Mayor Cahill or anybody sitting at this table wants a lousy water department or lousy water quality, then you're sadly mistaken. And you should be writing for science fiction novels somewhere else. But you're wrong on that point. And I wish you would get off the subject. Mr. Laughlin, when he has a problem, or anybody on the department head, when they see something wrong, they try to fix the problem. Whether you believe that or not, that's up to you to do that. But if you think that anybody at this table, or anybody that works for the city wants lousy water in the city where we shower and our children shower, and we use the water, you're not on the right track there. Okay, I believe whatever we gotta fix, we should fix, make it right. Whoever has to get punished should get punished. But we're on the right track to do the right thing for the residents of the city of New Brunswick, on water, from the top down. You can believe what you want to believe. You could write stories upon stories, like there's some kind of mystery out here that we're out sabotaging our water department, which I find to be ludicrous. But that's not the case at all. These are human error, human mistake. And the people that make them get punished, and we move forward. So now move on. It's just 5 minutes. How much more time does he have? Thank you. Continue.
With all due respect, sir, we've been in this meeting for 2.5 hours.
Great.
If you cared about this issue as much as me, you would have brought it up. You would have mentioned it, you would have had an announcement, you would have had questioning about it, and you would have been upfront about it. You were not upfront about this, and I'm not saying that you want a bad water department, but I'm saying you don't want bad publicity, and you don't want attention. Otherwise, you would have brought it up. Otherwise, you would have brought it up.
If you're going to keep raising your voice, you're not going to talk anymore here. So think about that before you keep talking. This is the council room, not the Charlie Crowder room. Remember that. So continue on. You raise your voice one more time, that'll be it.
Please don't raise your voice.
No, this is my meeting. This is the council meeting, okay? Not the Charlie Crowder meeting.
I think
If
this
you
is
get
the
your
people's
meeting
meeting.
and I attend it, you
I
can
think
tell
this
me
is
how to
the
act.
people's meeting, sir.
No,
I
it
think
says city council meeting. Read what it says on the paper.
All right, I think you're...
Okay, good for you. Go ahead.
How does the council feel that the mayor terminated the internal affairs review process?
Anybody like to comment? Mr. Crowder?
Internal affairs is canceled.
Internal affairs review hearing process that was created to establish confidence in internal affairs, reestablish confidence, and it hasn't been replaced, it hasn't been improved, it's been abolished.
Are you speaking about the process where he gave the people time during the Richard Rowe era to file a complaint?
Mm-hmm.
And now he's terminated that process?
The process has been terminated.
I feel fine with that.
Okay. I don't think that inspires confidence.
Excuse me?
I don't think that inspires
He gave
confidence.
everybody ample time. He only had two, I believe there's only been 2 complaints that I know of. So I don't know what else you want us to do. You want us to drag the people here? I don't know what you want us to do. I believe the mayor gave everybody ample time to file the complaint. And now he's terminated that, and I'm fine with that.
I'll tell you what I want you to do.
Don't do that. Ask, what do you want me to do?
I want you to pass an ordinance creating a civilian review board, a civilian complaint review board, just like New York City has to. Would you do that?
No, I'm not in favor of doing that.
Why not?
Because I believe that we should go to the Attorney General guidelines, which I believe our police department does. I hope I'm not speaking out of context, City Attorney family. But I believe our process is run by the city attorneys, and they answer and they abide by the laws of the state of New Jersey and the city attorney, like I believe 98% of the municipalities in New Jersey do as far as the police departments are concerned. Am I right?
Well, there's an Internal Affairs Bureau of the Police Department, which is directly supervised by the County Prosecutor's Office, which system is set up by the Attorney General's Office. It's a very specific, defined process and procedure for people who have problems with their local police department or county police department. Every particular police agency has to have an Internal Affairs Bureau to investigate allegations of whatever it is.
Thank you, Mr. Shannon.
I'd suggest that the council doesn't support additional oversight. You must not have been listening to all the people who've been coming here since you've been sitting up there, because we need more oversight of the police. It's very clear we need civilians involved, we need civilian oversight. Newark did it. If it's good enough for Newark, it's good enough for New Brunswick. We better get something like that soon. I have to ask about the infamous Ori building. We were promised there would be a beautiful pedestrian walkway coming from Easton Avenue where the old parking lot is. Now we don't have the parking, we can't find parking on Easton Avenue, and it's not a pedestrian walkway. When is that going to happen?
Mr. Patterson?
As I think Mr. Crowderville knows, there was a lawsuit with the adjoining property owner, the Alvis Lamans, where they need to have an easement to build their building. The lawsuit was settled by the Alvis Lamans and the Borais agreeing to give an easement along the former parking lot property for a period of 9 months so that they could undertake their construction. After that period is done, the Borai project will be able to go and construct the walkway that was approved as part of their plan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is Mr. Buca still collecting pension credits?
Mr. Kenny, so who can answer that?
There's been no change in that situation.
So that means yes? Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me, are any of you, members of the council, also members of the local organization known as the Elks Lodge?
The Elks Lodge?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, I am. The one on Livingston Avenue? Yes, I'm a proud 27-year member of the Elks Lodge.
Anybody else on the council?
Yes.
What's being done about the systemic racism in the city government? I brought allegations last week about the water utility.
What does that have to do with the
I didn't say it had anything to do with the Elks. Does it have anything to do with the
No,
Elks?
I don't know. I don't know why you asked me if I would help member and then go to that.
You limited me to 5 minutes, so I got to move quick. Last week I brought allegations. I said that the water director was demoted because he used a racial slur on the job. Did anybody look into that?
We were told by the city attorney that we cannot be involved in personnel matters. You were in the same room when he said we can't speak about
And
it.
I'll
If you
say
want
it
to bring it up
again,
again,
if
go
you'd
ahead.
like me to.
Council,
Personnel
go ahead,
matters
Mr.
are not proper for this particular forum. The employee has the right to privacy with respect to that. Personnel disciplinary matters are specifically not discussed in this type of forum. Mr. Craddock knows that.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, one council member made a very big deal about stopping a charity dunk contest from happening in Bugalo Park because he said that the organization that wanted to rent out the park and pay a permit fee and get insurance for it was systemically racist. I want to know what is the council doing about systemic racism in the city government?
You brought that up last time. Once again, I'm gonna say this one time. You have never walked in my shoes. You have not walked in the shoes of an African American. You can't tell me how I should respond to racism. And I take umbrage with that because, you could read it in a book, you could talk about it, you could write an article about it. You've never walked a day in my shoes. And you can't tell me that because I'm making a big deal about something. You have never been called that name before, no matter what. So it's no way that you can tell me or anybody else how to respond to racist stuff. If something goes on in government, the government is huge. It goes on every day. I have an advanced degree. I'm in city government. I can walk down the street and they look at me just like any other person, any other black person. I won't even use the word right now. You don't know how that feels. Therefore, you can't tell me how to respond to that. Tell me that I made a big deal about it. I proved point by point what this organization was about from the beginning. You bring up something in this little part right here, this little part right here, as if I'm supposed to respond to it or I'm not supposed to respond to it. Until you walk a day in my shoes, there ain't a damn thing you can tell me about that.
I asked you to
That's
look
it.
into it. Did you
That's
look
all.
into
That's
it?
all. Until you walk a day in my shoes,
Did you look into it?
you can't tell me what to look into and what not to look into. That's it.
Did you look into it?
What else you got, Mr. Crowder? Your time's up, and I'm gonna let you go on if you have anything else more. I want to be fair to you tonight.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I just think that if you look, you'll find there's systemic racism in a lot of organizations, and the city government is sadly one of them. I want to see that change, and I'll work together with anybody who's willing to work on that issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Crowder. Appreciate it. Anybody else wish to address the council here this evening? Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Buenas noches. Mi nombre es Bonfilia Jarquín.
Good evening, my name is Bonfilia Jarquín.
Good evening.
Soy miembro del Proyecto Esperanza y sé que ustedes están muy cansados, tuvieron una larga jornada hoy.
I'm a member of the Esperanza Project, and I know you're all tired. You've had a long meeting tonight.
Sé que fueron muchas resoluciones que han dado y han tenido un largo trabajo hoy.
I know there are a lot of resolutions to look at, and you've had a lot of work on your plate tonight.
Sé que tienen muchas preguntas que hacer antes de dar una resolución.
I know that you have to ask a lot of questions before approving any resolutions.
Pero estamos aquí solo para decirles que nos den una oportunidad de reunirnos con ustedes para poder contestar sus preguntas.
So we just wanted to say that we're here tonight to say that we are willing to meet with you all in the case of this ordinance to answer any questions you may have.
Mis compañeros han estado dando sus testimonios, pero hay muchas más personas que tienen más testimonios que dar.
You've heard a lot of testimonies from my fellow members, but there are many others who could give testimonies too.
Solo pedimos que nos den una oportunidad para reunirnos con ustedes.
And so we just ask for the opportunity to meet with you outside of a council meeting to speak about the proposed ordinance.
Gracias y buenas noches.
Thank you.
Thank you and good night.
Anybody else?
Anthony Labrina, I live at 20 Jefferson Avenue.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, again, third time. I live in a neighborhood that's right next to St. Peter's Hospital, and there's a traffic light at Park Avenue and Easton Avenue, or Park Boulevard and Easton Avenue, I can't remember what it's called. And you brought this up maybe a few council meetings ago, I haven't been here for a while. The light is broken. It's still broken.
The one by Park Boulevard? Yeah, I saw that the thing was still over. I called somebody about it, and they said they were going to get on it. Can we make a note of that, please? It's the traffic light on Eastern Avenue and Park Boulevard, Lincoln.
No, it's
Park, I'm sorry,
yeah.
Park.
Broken in which way? It's not functioning at all?
The yellow light on one of the light poles facing Easton Avenue, facing downtown on Easton Avenue, the yellow light cover.
Cage is open.
Cage is open, yeah.
Yeah, I did bring that up.
And I think they may have done something about it because I saw it was closed for a little while, and then I noticed last week or 2 weeks ago, I drove past it and I was like, Council President can't get this done. Who can get it done then?
It was open again. You're saying, so you must have got it done and then it opened again ever since.
That's right, I don't know.
I mean, that's to get you.
One of those things. One of those things. But,
We'll try again.
Thank you.
All right.
So I saw that there's a crosswalk put across George Street by Buglow Park to go to the bridge that crosses into Piscataway. This crosswalk, I gotta say, I'm glad that it's there. I'm glad it got painted. It's quite unsafe. Cars still drive regularly 40 miles an hour down that street. Because the crosswalk is down slope a little bit from Landing Lane, on the approach to the crosswalk, it comes up very suddenly. When somebody's driving 50 miles an hour down the road, I would just like to see that maybe we put some lights there, a sign, a bump, a speed bump. I don't think it's too out of the ordinary to put a speed bump. It's a 25 mile an hour
I think
street.
we are doing something, but I'll let Mr. Patterson speak on that. Yes, Mr. Patterson.
As I said, as AJ knows, it's a county road, so they would have to do that. But today, a Rutgers Community Partnership Grant was awarded to the Center for Advanced Infrastructure Technology to work with Rutgers and the city to study the Lynch Bridge bike pedestrian access there and how that entry comes off of the Lynch Bridge there to address exactly the problems that you've done. This is just a study. It's going to take a while to do. But as we've said here before, we all recognize that that's a problem situation there. We are looking to improve that.
But in the meantime, maybe, I see those new signs that are out that are yellow that have a pedestrian like facing down. Is anybody familiar with those? I know they just put them on Easton Avenue. Yeah. Maybe we can get one, maybe we can put one of those signs there to show that there's a pedestrian walking into the time being. You know which ones I'm talking about?
Right, yeah, I know. And then they also have the ones that flash.
Yeah.
I guess
If we could do something like that in the winter, okay?
That's reasonable.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah. So there's work or study being done on Livingston. It was brought up last council session, I guess, when Ms. Escobar was the president, that there were going to be public meetings. I went to the first one. I haven't seen any subsequent public meetings on what's happening on Livingston Avenue. So are they still working on it? Has there already been a couple of public meetings that I've missed?
Mr. Patterson.
Yes, actually, Mr. Goldman, Mr. Siegel and I met with the county engineers and the consultants last week, reviewing the data that they have been collecting on Livingston Avenue, reviewed that. A date for a second public meeting has not been set up, but it would probably be either later this month or early in June.
There we go. All right. And then driving down 18, I drive down 18 regularly. Boyd Park hasn't been under construction for quite a long time, but as someone gets closer to the Albany Street Bridge, it seems like there's still a construction site in Boyd Park. It's dirt. I don't think there's much grass growing there. It looks like a dirt parking lot. I think there's some tractor trailer beds parked there. And I mean, if I'm driving into New Brunswick as somebody from outside of New Brunswick, that doesn't look good for New Brunswick. So is that still active?
It is not Boyd Park. It is the old police station site. It is waiting for redevelopment, and by your approval, we are receiving $3,000 a month from Jingoli & Company for staging product and vehicles at that location in their construction efforts on College Avenue.
Okay. All right. I like the $3,000 a month. That's great. Why don't we take some of that money, plant some trees, and hide the construction equipment from the road? So when people come into New Brunswick from out of town, they don't have to see that.
Little camouflage?
Little camouflage.
Little camo?
All right. Is
We'll look
is
into
that
that. It's not a bad idea. That's what we're going to do. Anything else?
I guess not.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Anybody else like to address the council this evening?
Robert Solano, 290 Delama.
Good evening.
Good evening. I just want to bring this to your attention. Past weekend we have a festival called Just for the Health. It was approved by the city council and the agenda a couple months ago. It happened that somebody else took over behind Mr. Mike Blackwell. Mr. Mike Blackwell didn't know until the day that we find out that somebody was taking over with different flyer promoting Cinco de Mayo festival and charging $350 a person for selling. I brought this to attention to Mr. Teresi, to Mr. Mike Blackwell, and I want you to please take action on this situation because this lady is doing it. It's a lady who is always against the city, who always talk trash about us, who always talk trash about anybody that he can think about the city. And what she did is not right. So I need you to please take action on this because she probably, a lot of people, it wasn't a donation. She said that it wasn't a donation. We have witnessed that she charged $350. I sold tacos there with the restaurant license. And I told the guys that I didn't pay anything, only the propane tank, $42. She charged $350. So the people were selling a bottle of water for $5. I was selling it for $1. So I need you to please take action on this lady.
Okay. And you gave all the information to the clerk?
I did. And
we'll have somebody look into it, sir.
please, I need you to take action because she runs a nonprofit organization and she should have never done that. And she must get punished for this. Please, Teresa Viva. Please, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to address the council this evening? Seeing none?
Motion.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar. Yes. Council Vice President Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes.